Imagine waking up one day and that alarm clock sound. It's not that dreadful call to a job you just, well, put up with.
Right. It's more like a gentle suggestion. Maybe you get up, maybe you don't.
Exactly. You don't have to go to work. You actually get to choose. Maybe you dive into that passion project you've been dreaming about.
Or, maybe you just decide, hey, I'm booking a flight today, spontaneously.
Or just enjoy a quiet coffee. No looming deadlines hanging over you. It sounds like a fantasy, doesn't it?
It really does sometimes, but it's not. It's a real thing called financial freedom.
And that's exactly what we're digging into today. We've got some great sources you asked us to look at, all about finding financial independence.
Yeah, our mission today is basically to pull out the absolute best bits from this material.
We want to help you, listening right now, really get what this means for your life and, importantly, how you can start actually designing that future, a future based on choice, not just obligation.
And the really radical part, this isn't something you have to wait decades for, like traditional retirement.
Not at all.
Mm.
It can happen much, much sooner.
That's the plan. Today, we're doing a deep dive into this roadmap, essentially, for early financial freedom.
We'll unpack the mindset stuff, the skills, the investing strategies.
And really practical steps you can literally start taking, well, today.
Our goal is simple. Distill the key wisdom here so you can quickly grasp what financial freedom really is, what it feels like.
And most importantly, how you can actually start building it. It's about giving you those actionable steps.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's unpack this. So first things first, let's tackle that big question. What is financial freedom? Because honestly, for a lot of us, the picture that pops into our heads is like private jets and yachts.
Right, becoming a billionaire or something, that whole myth.
Exactly. But the sources we looked at, they really push back against that idea.
They do, very clearly. The main point is financial freedom isn't really about having billions or being super rich in that flashy consumer way.
Okay, so what is it then more precisely?
It's defined more as having enough regular income coming in from your assets, things you own, or maybe side businesses.
Enough to cover what?
Enough to comfortably pay for all your essential living costs, your housing, food, bills, the basics.
Ah, so the key is covering expenses without needing that traditional 9-to-5 job.
Precisely. It's not about endless wealth. It's about building this financial engine that basically buys back your time.
So you can meet your needs without constantly trading hours for a paycheck.
Uh,
It really comes down to having choice, doesn't it?
that's the core of it. And what the research really emphasizes are the qualitative aspects, which honestly I think are even more powerful than the numbers.
Like what?
Things like truly living life on your terms, or that feeling of waking up without stress, where that constant pressure to earn from a job you might not even like just lifts.
That sounds amazing.
And the idea of choosing work, not being forced into it, that totally changes the game. Work becomes something you do out of passion or purpose, maybe, if you even want to.
That's a huge mental shift.
Yeah.
It almost sounds, well, a bit too good to be true for some people starting out.
Yeah.
What's the biggest hurdle people face just internalizing that?
I think it's overcoming that deep conditioning about work and money. And maybe understanding the ripple effects. It's not just about the bank account.
How so?
Well, the sources suggest it affects everything, your sense of self, your relationships, even your physical health. When your choices aren't driven purely by financial need.
You think differently.
Yeah, people apparently become more creative, maybe more generous, less stressed, certainly, less swayed by what everyone else thinks.
So for you listening, just pause for a second. Imagine your basics, rent, food, transport, just everyday stuff. Imagine that's covered. Not by a boss, but by your own system.
What would you actually do? What passions would you finally chase? What projects would you start? How would your day just feel different?
It's a powerful thought exercise. And it leads right into what our sources call the early advantage, which I think is maybe the most disruptive idea here. The simple line, you don't need to wait till 50 to get there.
Boom. That just cuts through decades of conventional thinking about retirement, doesn't it?
Totally. We're all kind of programmed to think freedom happens, way down the line.
Yeah.
After 60, 65 maybe, like a reward for a lifetime of work.
But this material says, no, wait, there's a much shorter path. It's actually possible.
It completely flips the script on the timeline.
So think about that. If you don't have to wait until you're 50 or 60, what does gaining decades of life where work is optional actually mean?
It changes everything. Your priorities shift massively.
Instead of working for retirement way off in the distance, you could be working towards freedom in your 30s, maybe even your late 20s.
That's not just tweaking things. It's a whole new way of living. It opens up possibilities for growth, travel, contributing to causes.
Or just enjoying your prime years without that constant money stress. The possibilities really expand, letting you focus on experiences, relationships, not just the grind. Okay, so we've got this exciting picture of really freedom. The big question then becomes, right, how do I actually do this?
Yeah, where do you even start?
And the sources are super clear on this. Achieving financial freedom has to start with changing how you think about money, fundamentally.
So it's not just about tactics and spreadsheets.
Not at first. It's deeper than that. It's like a psychological rewiring. You have to actively question all those ingrained ideas about money we just sort of absorb from society.
Right. It's not just learning something new, it's unlearning a lot of old habits and beliefs.
Yeah.
It feels like the absolute first step happens right between your ears.
Definitely. And a huge part of that is redefining your priorities.
Yeah.
The sources put it really well. Don't chase status, chase freedom.
Ooh, I like that. And the other one they pair with it.
Don't spend to impress, spend to grow.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that digs right into the consumerism trap, doesn't it?
It really does. So many people get caught in this cycle of buying things to look successful or just keep up with their friends, you know?
That shiny new car, the latest phone, designer clothes. Often it's about what other people think.
Exactly. It's often about external validation, not actual internal growth or need.
And the analysis on this is key. Focusing on freedom instead of status leads to completely different financial choices.
Totally. Chasing status is like being on a treadmill. You keep buying newer, maybe bigger things, but you're not actually getting closer to real financial security.
Because each purchase often adds a payment, or something that just loses value immediately. It's a temporary buzz.
Whereas spending to grow means you're consciously putting money into things that build you up. Investing in yourself, buying assets that might increase in value, or even experiences that enrich your life without creating more debt.
I love that analogy you used before. It's like buying flowers versus planting a tree. One wilts, the other provides value for years.
Precisely. Which leads us to another crucial behavior for this mindset shift: delayed gratification.
The tough one. Learning to say no to the instant reward.
It really is often the hardest part for people. We live in this world where everything's available instantly, right? Click a button, it's at your door.
So resisting that immediate urge, that quick dopamine hit, takes real effort.
But it's absolutely crucial for building financial muscle, for building that long-term momentum towards freedom.
It takes discipline, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And a really clear vision of why you're saying no right now.
definitely. But every time you manage to resist buying something non-essential today and instead redirect that money towards a goal that builds your future.
You're not just saving cash, you're building a habit.
Exactly. And the sources connect this directly to compounding. Not just compounding money, but compounding good habits.
So the earlier you get control of your impulses.
The faster you get control of your money. Each time you choose the long-term win over the short-term buzz, you strengthen that mental muscle for financial discipline.
And that discipline itself compounds, making future choices easier. It creates a positive feedback loop. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about something pretty fundamental. Something, frankly, most of us just didn't get taught properly in school.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
The sources just nail it. You were taught algebra in school, but not how to manage your salary. That's kind of wild when you think about it.
It really is a massive oversight in our education system. We learn complex formulas, historical dates, scientific stuff,
But managing the actual money we earn, often totally skipped.
and the impact is huge. Without understanding how money actually works, people make choices that lead to debt, missed chances, just constant stress.
They might earn okay money, but still struggle, just because they never got the basic rule book for their own finances. It's like playing a game without knowing the rules.
Exactly. Which is why the sources stress learning the essential financial vocabulary. Even for people who follow finance, revisiting the core concepts through this lens is useful.
Right, they list the big four: income, expenses, assets, liabilities. These aren't just buzzwords, they're the building blocks.
Income, pretty simple, all the money flowing in. Salary, freelance gigs, investment returns, whatever.
Expenses, all the money flowing out. Rent, groceries, utilities, that coffee habit.
Understanding just those two gives you your basic cash flow picture. Are you in the green or the red each month?
But then it gets really powerful with assets and liabilities. And the way the sources define them is super practical.
Yeah, I like their definition. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket, either through income or by growing in value.
And liability.
that consistently takes money out of your pocket. It's a drain.
Okay, give us some simple examples.
Sure. So, a rental property you own that brings in rent each month, classic asset, money in.
Makes sense.
A car loan, even for the car you need to get to work, that's a liability. The payments take money out every month, and the car itself is probably losing value.
Right, even if the car is useful, the loan is the liability.
Exactly. Or stocks or mutual funds that grow and maybe pay dividends. Assets. High-interest credit card debt for stuff you bought ages ago. Big liability, constantly pulling money away with interest.
Understanding that difference, what builds you up versus what drains you, is non-negotiable for getting financially healthy. Your goal is basically to stack up assets and slash liabilities.
Precisely. So if schools aren't teaching this stuff, where do we learn it?
Well, the sources are blunt. Self-education is essential. They say read, listen, watch, grow.
It's not just a nice idea, it's a requirement if you're serious about this path.
Thankfully, there's so much out there now, right? Books, podcasts, videos, online courses. Financial education is way more accessible than it used to be.
And the alternative, not learning. The source warns, because financial ignorance is expensive.
And that's not just a clever line, is it? It's painfully true over time.
Oh, massively. Think about the opportunity cost. Every bad spending decision, every investment you miss because you don't understand it, every bit of high-interest debt.
It adds up.
Hugely. Over decades, thanks to compounding working against you with debt interest and missed growth, those small mistakes can literally cost hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, in lost wealth and lost freedom.
So beyond the money, what's the real cost of financial ignorance? The sources seem to suggest it's heavier than just dollars.
Yeah, it's losing time years you could have spent differently. It's losing choices, the ability to say no, to travel, to be present with family.
And maybe losing peace of mind. Always worrying about money.
Definitely. That constant anxiety is a heavy burden. But the good news is it's avoidable. You just have to be proactive about learning. All right, so mindset shifted, language learned. The next huge piece of the puzzle is building your earning power.
Okay.
And the core idea from the sources is really empowering. Money doesn't grow from wishes. It grows from skills.
I like that. It cuts through the whole get-rich-quick fantasy.
Yeah.
It's about building real abilities.
Exactly. It's not about luck or inheritance for most people. It's about developing valuable skills that the market actually needs.
And these skills are like the engine for generating income, right? Especially now with how work is changing.
Absolutely. The whole traditional job market is shifting. Think about the gig economy, remote work. The demand for specialized talent skills are becoming more valuable than ever, sometimes more than degrees.
If you have a skill people will pay for, you have leverage.
For sure. And the sources list some specific examples they call high-income skills because they directly help businesses grow or solve big problems.
Okay, what kind of skills are we talking about?
Things like design, coding, editing videos, writing persuasive content, digital marketing, and selling.
Let's break those down a bit. Why are these considered high income? Take design.
Well, design isn't just making things look nice. It's about user experience, branding, websites that actually convert visitors into customers, apps that are easy to use. Businesses need that to connect with people.
So a good designer is really valuable. You could freelance, make templates, work for agencies.
Well, loads of options. Then there's code, probably the most obvious one.
Building software, websites, apps, managing data. It's the language of the digital world.
Right. A coder can build things, automate things, create new products, incredibly valuable. And the sources stress you don't need to be a genius mastering the logic, and one in-demand language can open doors.
It's more about problem solving. You could be a developer, engineer, even launch your own software service.
Then editing videos. This has just exploded, hasn't it?
Oh yeah. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram Reels, video marketing everywhere.
Every business, every creator needs good video. A skilled editor turns raw footage into something engaging, professional, adds graphics, sound.
And the demand is huge, from influencers to big companies.
Totally. How about writing persuasive content? Sounds a bit vague, but it's critical.
This is copywriting, right?
Yeah.
Writing words that make people take action, buy something, sign up for something.
Exactly. Every good sales page, ad, email campaign needs strong copy. Businesses are always looking for writers who can get results.
And that ties into marketing digitally.
Yeah, this is broader SEO, social media, email marketing, running online ads, basically knowing how to get eyeballs on a product or service online and turn them into customers. Hugely valuable skill.
You can manage social media for businesses, run ad campaigns.
And finally, sell anything with confidence. This isn't just being a pushy salesperson.
It's more about understanding people, negotiation, showing the value.
Precisely. Whether you're selling a product, a service, or even just yourself in an interview, being able to communicate value persuasively is key. It directly impacts the bottom line.
Okay, so these are powerful skills, but what makes them game changers for early freedom?
The sources point out the killer benefit. Once you have a skill like these, often you can start earning from anywhere.
Ah, the location independence factor.
Exactly. Remote work, freelancing, it completely changes the constraints. You're not tied to your local job market.
You can tap into a global pool of clients.
Right. You could live somewhere with a low cost of living, but earn rates from major cities. That flexibility is massive. It lines up perfectly with that living life on your terms idea.
Travel and work, live where you love.
Yeah.
It gives you so much control over your life and your income. That's huge. Okay, so we've got the mindset right. We're learning the language of money. We're building valuable skills. Now, how do we pull it all together into a strategy?
This is where the sources give us this simple but really powerful mantra. Earn, save, invest, repeat.
Earn, save, invest, repeat. Sounds straightforward.
It is, but the consistency is key. It's
Yeah.
not just steps. It's the rhythm, the core strategy for getting to freedom faster.
Okay, let's break it down. Component one, earn.
The actions here are practical. Work, freelance, sell a service, start small. The main thing is just getting income flowing in.
It doesn't have to be the dream job right away.
Not necessarily. It could be your main job, or it could be a side hustle using one of those skills we talked about. Selling design work online, coding a small project, editing videos.
The point is just to activate the earning engine,
Yeah,
even if it starts small.
exactly. A few hundred extra bucks a month makes a huge difference, especially when you apply the next step.
Which is save. And the advice here is pretty blunt.
Yeah, don't spend like others. Be different. And there's this urgency. Save like your future depends on it, because it does.
That hits on the countercultural part, doesn't it? Resisting the pressure to spend, spend, spend.
It's a radical act in our society, but it's vital. Why? Because every dollar you don't spend on something fleeting is a dollar you can put to work for you.
It's a direct trade.
Mm.
Less consumption now equals more freedom later.
Right. You shift from being just a consumer to being an investor in your own future. Instead of buying the latest gadget, you're buying a piece of your freedom.
Okay, but this raises that common question. How do you save aggressively but still, live, enjoy life?
That's crucial. It's not about total deprivation. It's about conscious spending, knowing your wants versus your needs.
And then choosing the wants that really align with your values and your freedom goal, not just stuff to impress people.
Exactly. Being super intentional with every dollar, which leads perfectly into the third part. Invest.
Because saving alone isn't enough.
Nope. The source says, every dollar saved is not powerful until it's invested. Money sitting under the mattress or even in a basic savings account isn't really growing.
It needs to be put to work.
Precisely. The sources mention things like SIPs, systematic investment plans.
Those are great for consistency, especially with mutual funds. Takes the stress out of it.
Right. Also, individual stocks, if you're willing to do the research or use index funds. And they mention digital assets too.
Okay, like crypto, that area.
Yeah, acknowledging the higher risk but potential for faster growth, maybe as a smaller part of a diverse portfolio, especially for that early freedom goal. The key is finding the right mix for you.
And this is where compounding comes in. The best friend.
This is where the magic happens. The source says, start early. Let compounding be your best friend.
Explain compounding simply again. It's like interest on your interest.
Pretty much. You earn returns on your original money and on the returns you've already made. It creates this snowball effect that gets faster and faster over time.
It's amazing how quickly wealth can grow with it, especially if you start young.
Totally. That $1,000 earning 10% becomes $1,100. Next year, you earn 10% on the $1,100, so you get $110, making it $1,210. It seems small at first.
But over 20, 30, 40 years.
It becomes mind-blowing. That interest on interest just takes off exponentially. Time is literally your most valuable asset here. Starting early makes a massive difference.
Which brings us to the last part of the mantra, repeat.
Do this month after month, year after year. It's all about consistency. This isn't a one-time lottery win.
It's building that habit, that rhythm of earning, saving, investing over and over.
Making it almost automatic. And the sources promise if you stick with it, you'll be shocked where you are in just 5 years.
Wow. So it's not some far-off dream. Consistent action delivers real results faster than you might think. Okay, so we're in the rhythm. Earn, save, invest, repeat. But how do we get to that point where we're truly free, where our time isn't directly tied to our income?
Now we're talking up the ultimate goal, creating passive income. The sources call this the real trick.
The ability to make money even while you sleep. That's the dream, isn't it?
It really is the fundamental shift. Most people trade active time for money. You work, you get paid, you stop working, the money starts.
But passive income breaks that link.
Completely. It's about generating income automatically or with very little ongoing effort after you've done the initial setup work. That's what truly separates financial freedom from just having a high salary.
Yeah.
Your income doesn't depend on you actively working those hours.
Which frees up your time.
Exactly. And the sources give a bunch of practical ideas for this. These aren't just theories. People are actually doing these things.
Like what?
Starting a YouTube channel, selling an ebook, creating digital templates, earning from affiliate links, investing in dividend stocks, building a blog.
Okay, let's touch on how these work passively. A YouTube channel.
Once you build an audience and your videos get views, you can earn from ads, sponsorships, maybe selling your own stuff. You make the video once, it can earn for years.
Makes sense. Selling an ebook.
Classic example. Write the book once, sell it over and over. Royalties come in automatically with each sale.
Same idea with digital templates, right? Like for Notion or Canva.
Exactly. Design it once, sell it repeatedly. Low ongoing effort for potentially continuous income.
What about affiliate links?
That's where you recommend products you like, maybe on a blog or video, using a special link. If someone buys through your link, you get a commission. Once the content is out there, those links can keep earning passively.
Okay. And dividend stocks. That sounds more traditional.
It is. Some companies pay out a portion of their profits to shareholders regularly, often quarterly. You own the stock, you get paid. Pretty passive once you've made the investment.
Nice. And building a blog.
Similar to YouTube. Build up valuable content, attract readers, then you can earn through ads, affiliate links, selling your own products or courses. It takes work up front to build it, but then the income can flow for a long time, often growing as your audience does. The key, as the sources imply, is often finding a good niche. An evergreen ebook or a blog solving a specific problem can earn for years.
So the underlying principle for all of these is basically work once, earn forever, or at least earn for a long time with minimal extra work.
That's the magic formula. And the long-term impact is huge. Building multiple streams like this creates real financial security. You're not relying on just one paycheck.
It gives you that flexibility, that choice.
If you connect it to the bigger picture, this is how you decouple income from time. It frees up your most valuable resource, your time, to do what truly matters to you.
Whether that's more projects, travel, family time, learning, or just relaxing, knowing your bills are paid.
That's the ultimate personal autonomy right there.
Okay, this all sounds incredibly positive and doable, but let's be real. It can't be completely smooth sailing, right? There must be things that trip people up.
Oh, absolutely. The path isn't free of obstacles, and the sources are good at pointing out the common mistakes, the landmines that can blow up your progress. Knowing these is just as important as knowing what to do.
So what's mistake number one?
Probably the most common and damaging. Spending to impress others, that whole social pressure trap.
Buying stuff you don't need with money you don't have to impress people who probably don't care that much anyway.
Pretty much. And it directly leads to debt and stops you from saving. Every dollar spent on showing off is a dollar not invested in your freedom. It just keeps you stuck on that treadmill, often going into debt for things that lose value.
And related to that is the next one, credit card debt for useless stuff.
The high interest trap. This is incredibly dangerous for financial freedom. Credit cards can be tools, but carrying a balance on non-essential purchases.
The interest just eats you alive.
Exactly. You end up paying way more than the item was worth. It's like actively working against your goal, digging yourself deeper instead of building yourself up.
Okay, what's another common pitfall?
Not tracking where your money goes.
The blind spot problem. So many people just have a vague idea of their finances.
Why is tracking so essential?
Because if you don't know exactly where your money is going in and out, you can't optimize it. You can't see where to cut back, where to save more, how much you can actually invest consistently.
It's like trying to navigate without a map or compass, just drifting.
Precisely. Another big one, especially relevant to our earlier chat about compounding.
Let me guess. Thinking you're too young to invest.
You got it. The opportunity cost here is massive. We talked about how time is your superpower with compounding. Every year, month, even day, you delay investing.
You're losing out on potential growth, that exponential curve.
Yeah, starting in your early 20s versus your 30s can mean a staggering difference in wealth later on, just because of that compounding effect over decades. It's a costly mistake.
Okay, one more big one. Relying on one source of income. The vulnerability factor.
Putting all your eggs in one basket, basically.
Exactly. Job security isn't what it used to be. Economies change, companies change. If your entire financial life depends on one paycheck.
You're exposed if something happens.
Yeah.
Layoffs, downturns, even just hating your job but feeling stuck.
Right. Diversifying your income streams, side hustles, investments, passive income creates a safety net. It reduces stress and risk, bringing you closer to real freedom, not just dependence on one employer.
So the overall message from the sources on mistakes seems to
Be smart. Don't be average. It's a call to be intentional, make conscious choices, and break away from those common habits that keep most people stuck.
be proactive. Don't just let your finances happen to you.
So we've covered the mindset, the knowledge, the skills, the strategy, the goal, and the pitfalls. But the sources don't just leave it there. They actually offer a structured, age-based roadmap.
Oh, cool. Like concrete steps for different stages.
Exactly. It makes the whole thing feel much more tangible and less overwhelming, breaking it down into phases.
Okay, let's hear it. Phase 1.
Age 18-20, the learning and building phase. Key actions: learn, build skills, start a side hustle, save every dollar.
So early years are all about foundation building, soaking up knowledge, trying out skills, getting something started on the side, and being super diligent with saving.
Yes, these are incredibly formative years. Be a sponge, experiment, find out what skills you like and what people will pay for. Put them to work, even small scale, and that save every dollar part hammers home building that saving habit early.
The habits you form then really set your trajectory for the future, don't they?
Massively. They compound just like money. Okay, next phase. Age 21-23, the income and investment growth phase.
What happens here?
Key actions: build income streams, save and invest consistently, network with like-minded people.
So building on that foundation, turning the side hustle into maybe something more, getting serious about consistent investing now that income is likely higher.
Exactly. Scaling up what you started, deepening those financial habits, and the networking part is key too.
Why networking?
Surrounding yourself with people on the same path provides support, ideas, accountability. It creates this positive environment that pushes everyone forward.
Makes sense. Okay, phase 3.
Age 24-26, the scaling and automation phase. Actions: scale what works, automate your income, live below your means.
Scaling and automation. So identifying what's really working income-wise and doubling down on it.
Yep. And actively building those passive income streams we talked about, automating your income generation, making sure investments are funded automatically.
And that reminder,
Yeah.
live below your means. Still crucial even as income grows. Avoid lifestyle creep.
Absolutely critical. Keep
Yeah.
widening that gap between income and expenses so you can invest more. Setting up automatic transfers to investment accounts is a perfect example of automation here. Pay yourself first automatically.
All right, and the final phase. This sounds like the payoff.
Age 27-30, the freedom achievement phase. The actions are the reward. Achieve freedom, travel, invest, or build bigger. Do what you love without financial pressure.
Wow. So this is where passive income, or asset income, covers living expenses. The job becomes optional.
That's the goal. And think about what that means. Achieving that potentially before 30, it just opens up a completely different life path.
Travel, passion projects, starting a nonprofit, more education just for fun.
Or just enjoying life without that constant need to earn. Working, if you want, how you want, on things you genuinely care about, not just for the paycheck.
That really is designing your life. Hashtag, tag, outro. So as we start to wrap this up, the big message that just keeps coming through from all this material is pretty clear, isn't it?
Yeah, financial freedom isn't some impossible dream. It's not just for the lucky few or the super rich.
It's actually a real achievable goal if you're willing to, do the work, change how you think, and follow a clear path.
And the most crucial takeaway, the immediate call to action.
It starts with you, right now, today.
Not putting it off. That first step, deciding to learn a skill, starting to track your spending, making that first small investment, that's the beginning.
This whole deep dive has really been about empowerment, hasn't it? Taking control of your financial future.
Definitely. So as you go about the rest of your day, maybe let this final thought from the sources sit with you for a bit, mull it over.
What is it?
Don't wait for life to happen. Design your life and be financially free.
I like that. It's proactive. It puts you in the driver's seat. It urges you to take what you've heard today and actually start shaping that future you want.
One intentional choice at a time.